Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Reid from Reid Corporate, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you today and to thank you for joining us at relatively short notice for this special investor webinar with Chalice Mining, ASX code CHN, and to welcome the company's Managing Director, Alex Dorsch from Perth. Well, Chalice scarcely needs any introduction. It's been one of the best performing stocks on the ASX over the past 18 months, thanks to its world-class Julimar nickel-copper PGE discovery just 70 kilometres from Perth in WA. We've all become quite accustomed to regular news and updates from this fantastic discovery as Chalice moves closer towards a maiden mineral resource estimate in early Q4 this year and prepares to test the exciting new targets identified recently to the north of the world-class Gonville discovery within the 26-kilometre long Julimar complex. But amidst all the excitement over Julimar and the new West Yilgarn nickel-copper PGE province, we may have lost sight of the fact that before the Julimar discovery, Chalice was already a globally recognised and well-funded exploration specialist with a large and valuable gold portfolio, including the district-scale Pyramid Hill gold project in Western Victoria in the Bendigo region. Earlier today, Chalice announced that it intends to pursue a demerger of its Australian gold assets, including Pyramid Hill, subject to shareholder and regulatory approvals, saying that the proposal would aim to deliver Chalice shareholders a standalone, listed, Australian-focused exploration company with a well-funded balance sheet to target Tier 1 gold discoveries. We're very pleased that Alex has been able to join us from the Chalice Mining head office in Perth this morning to give us a little more detail and context around this announcement and also to answer any questions you may have. Before I hand over to Alex, can I ask anyone who's tuned in today who would like to ask a question to please use the Q&A tab on the right-hand side of your screen, and please submit those questions as Alex talks through his presentation this morning, so that I have a chance to put them to him once he's finished up. So let's get right into it. Alex, good morning. Welcome and thanks for joining us this morning. Can you please take us through today's exciting announcement?
Good morning, Nick. Yeah, and thank you, Nick and the team at Reid Corporate for hosting this webinar for us this morning. As Nick alluded to, this is a very exciting development for the company. Some of our longer term shareholders would recall that Pyramid Hill was our focus and our flagship asset for a couple of years prior to the Julimar discovery. The Julimar discovery has obviously moved a lot of attention of the company over to WA, but we've quietly been confident and progressing activities in Victoria in the background now for some time. And I guess we've, as Nick alluded to, we've reached the point where we believe the optimal value strategy for our shareholders is to pursue a demerger of Victoria as well as the other gold assets in our portfolio into a standalone ASX-listed gold company. And that really allows us Chalice to focus on Julimar and the West Yilgarn, while the new company pursues new Tier 1 discoveries undercover in Victoria, as well as Tier 1 gold discoveries in the other gold projects. So it's a fairly high impact decision for the company. We don't have all the regulatory and obviously shareholder approvals as yet to actually execute the demerger, but we will be working on that over the next couple of months. And as more details come to light there, we will share that with the market. But we are looking at a timeline, looking for the demerger and IPO to be executed in Q4 of this year, so the December quarter, subject to those approvals being received. So that's an exciting development for the company. I guess there's been a lot of our shareholders that have kept a keen interest on particularly Pyramid Hill, given the prospective nature and the large scale of the tenement holding there in Victoria. It's easily the largest 100% owned land package in the Bendigo goldfields of Victoria, over 5,000 square kilometres, as well as some additional license applications on top of that. So it is a high profile asset, and it will certainly attract attention for the new entity. So the second part of the announcement, as Nick alluded to, we have recently completed some exploration over in Victoria as well, and as it says there, I guess there's a combination of diamond drill results as well as air core drilling that's basically been continuous now for the last 8 or 9 months over in that field season in Victoria. So we've completed about 125,000 meters of drilling in Victoria since we started field work over there in 2018, and that is effectively starting from scratch. There is effectively a very large unexplored land package in Victoria along strike from some of the richest, highest grade gold deposits anywhere in Australia. And we've been using our targeting and our reconnaissance approach there to effectively break new ground and define greenfield targets over there under thin Murray Basin cover. And importantly, for those who know the history of that province, that shallow cover has really prevented a lot of exploration effort in the region, and it took out, I guess, a number of explorers, including Chalice, to adopt modern techniques and really effective drilling techniques to now vector towards the high grade gold systems there under that thin cover. So in terms of our premier prospect at Pyramid Hill is Carry. As it says there, we've completed 11 holes recently, about 4,000 meters of drilling. We've had our best intercept to date at the prospect, 5.1 meters at 14 grams gold from 101 meters, including 2.2 meters at 32 grams gold. So that's a very exciting recent intercept. It adds to additional intercepts that we've got now over about 2.5 kilometers of strike length. So that really makes that prospect a very enticing play with very, very wide space drilling still, but a lot of potential there to explore. Obviously, as it says there as well, 4 kilometers of anomalous gold there in shallow air core drilling, and now a further 11 holes have been drilled targeting the primary basement there. So we've got the right characteristics in that target for a significant gold system. As we've been saying for some time, we've got tightly folded upright Castlemaine group sediments, and that really is a characteristic feature of all the large gold systems in the Bendigo zone. Obviously, the most famous now being Fosterville, which, as most people know, hosts the high-grade Swan zone of about 3 million ounces at over 30 grams per tonne gold. So easily one of the standout highest grade, gold lodes anywhere in Australia and indeed anywhere in the world. But also Bendigo, not far from Fosterville there. Bendigo is about 65 kilometres away from our Carry prospect, and Bendigo is over 22 million ounce goldfield. So quite amazing that obviously in Australia we've got greenfield targets without any really historical drilling before Chalice started drilling on this prospect, before we found this prospect in 2018. So we've got some great results there, which have further upgraded the prospect, and we've got some infill diamond drilling there to be done in Q4 of this year. Secondly, I guess people will be aware of our reconnaissance air core drilling technique, effectively drilling shallow vertical drill holes through the cover sequence and then tagging the top of the basement. And we use that really as a geochemical tool to vector towards potential gold systems there lying in basement in Castlemaine group sediments. So we've been drilling across the Mucklefoot and Mount William areas to the northwest and northeast of Fosterville. We've got some great new results at the Ironbark prospect there, 6 meters at 3.8 grams per tonne gold, as well as a very exciting hit there, 13 meters at 1.5 grams gold to the end of the hole on a new prospect called the Ironbark East diorite. So we've got some again, further drilling to be done there, and really we are quite excited by those diorite targets in that part of the project, and again, completely greenfield targets with no historical drilling. So we are, I guess, from a greenfield exploration standpoint, we think we are, converging and narrowing in on significant discoveries there undercover. So I'll jump just to I guess put some of those results in context. I guess first of all at Carry, as you can see on the screen there, the looking at a plan view of the Carry feature. As I said, 4 kilometres of anomalous gold in air core drilling, and now you can see the scattering of wide-spaced diamond holes we've done on effectively their plus 1 kilometre spaced drill lines. I guess the closest spaced holes there on something like 500 metre spaced lines. So we've got some evidence there. As it says, you can see that in the central part of the prospect there, 5.1 metres at 14 grams gold from 101 metres, and that is not far away from a couple of historical intercepts from our previous field season, where we had 4 metres at 3.25 from 390 metres. As well as a new result there, 8 metres at 1.05 grams from 202. So that is definitely, we think, the most exciting part of that system. And I guess the next steps are, as you can see, there's some indications of gold in basement, up to over 2.5 kilometres of strike length. So the next step is really just to chase the high grade now along strike, and try and get an understanding of the plunge control of these lodes, and then hopefully further advance the prospect and start to really narrow in on a major discovery. This is what it looks like in 3 dimensions. So looking at through some of the geology there on 3 cross sections there where we've drilled some holes, you can see that tightly folded sequence of shales and interbedded sandstone shales in the blue, yellow, and red colours there. That tight folding is what controls the high-grade gold mineralisation in Quartz Reef. And as you can see there's multiple positions there that are prospective for high-grade gold. And as I said, now the next step is to drill along strike and see whether we can really narrow in on the extent of each one of those lodes. So Carry is obviously a standout target, but we remain also very excited about Ironbark. So the history of Ironbark briefly is we drilled a series of shallow air core holes along roadsides in this area in 2018, and one of those roadside lines crossed over the centre of this Ironbark South feature here. So the first line of holes was fortunate that crossed over directly over a magnetic feature there, which confirmed is a diorite intrusive, Ironbark South. And then we subsequently have now discovered 2 additional diorite intrusions there, Ironbark North and Ironbark East, which have both protruded, I guess, through the Castlemaine sediments. So diorites, for those who are familiar with Victorian gold, are very prospective hosts for high-grade gold mineralisation, particularly in the Walhalla Woods Point field in eastern Victoria. But the Bendigo zone really didn't have any previous or known diorite or gold-hosted diorite in the Bendigo zone. So this was a major, I guess, technical success a year or so ago. And as you can see there now, we've got a lot of air core drilling drilled into the Ironbark North and East diorites, and as it says there on the right hand side of the page, there's 2 particularly encouraging intercepts there, 9 metres at 0.9 grams gold and 29 metres at 0.8 grams gold, including that 13 metres at 1.5 grams to the end of hole. And both of those hits are associated with that Ironbark East diorite, so definitely warrant some more air core drilling, as well as some diamond drilling upon the new entity listing. So a very exciting development there at Ironbark, and I guess it adds further indications here that this land package could host multiple discoveries. And finally, before I hand over to some questions, you can see on this figure 5, we've done air core drilling. We've continued that wide space reconnaissance air core drilling approach across our land holding. We've drilled, about 1,100 air core holes largely across this Muckleford area here, which you can see is immediately west of Bendigo and northwest of Fosterville. And you can see there that by those grey lines, we've got several major crustal scale faults, which we know host some of the largest gold deposits in the Bendigo zone. We've got a lot of those faults converging in the northern part of that Muckleford area there, so around that Carry target. You can see there the air core drill results were clearly anomalous versus the surrounding areas. Ironbark there, about 20 odd kilometres to the south of Carry. Again, you can see that there's a very anomalous set of air core results there. And then encouragingly, we've identified at the Banksia target there a number of high-grade intercepts in transported cover. So sitting immediately above the target Castlemaine group sediments, we've got multiple intervals there of 10 metres at 2 grams gold, 2 metres at 1.2, 2 metres at 4.5 grams in transported cover. And the significance of those intersections, which you can see are many kilometres apart, that Banksia trend extends over 10 kilometres and as yet is only defined on those four drill lines. So the significance there is that there is a lot of alluvial gold that is associated with some of these primary gold systems in Victoria. A good example of that is Castlemaine, which is circa 6 million ounces, but about 5 million ounces of that endowment was from alluvial or placer deposits. And likewise at Bendigo, about 4 million ounces of the 22 million was actually alluvial gold. So alluvial is a good pathfinder, if you like, to the real prize at depth, and getting such strong alluvial results there in that transported cover indicates to us that there could be something lurking beneath or proximal to those zones that definitely warrants more drilling. So that Nick, is probably a summary of the results we've had to date. Obviously, we remain very, very excited by the project. We are looking to complement Pyramid Hill with a number of other gold assets from the Chalice portfolio, and we certainly look forward to progressing the demerger and an IPO later this year. So I'll hand back to you for some questions.
Thanks very much, Alex. That was a great, succinct presentation of the opportunity that's been announced today with the proposed gold demerger. Just a reminder to everyone listening to please use the Q&A tab to log some questions. We do have a number that have already come in, but please keep them coming. Alex loves answering questions, so let's get right into it. First question, Alex, is about the overall structure of the IPO. Now, I appreciate there's probably a limit to how much you can say at this point, but it's a question which I'm sure a number of shareholders would like to ask as well. So this is from Stuart McKinnon at the West Australian. What are your early thoughts on the structure of the demerger? Will there be an in-specie distribution of shares to existing shareholders? Does Chalice itself intend to retain a stake in the new entity? And what size capital raising is envisaged at this stage?
Thanks for that, Stu. Yeah, obviously everything is subject to ASX, ASIC and ATO guidance at this point. But what we're intending to do is a 100% in specie distribution of the shares in the new company to our shareholders. So Chalice is not intending to retain an ownership in that new entity. And I think that reflects really the quite discrete strategies of the two entities. Obviously, Chalice being now focused on nickel, copper, PGE, in our new mineral province here in the West Yilgarn, and the new co will effectively have all of the gold interests, so be a very gold focused exploration company. So that's the intention at the moment for the structure. And obviously those details will be finalised in the coming months as we engage with the various regulatory bodies. We are looking at a quantum of a capital raise to accompany the IPO. That quantum is yet to be determined, but suffice to say we want our projects and the new entity to be well capitalised and well funded to be able to execute a comprehensive and aggressive exploration strategy, particularly there in Victoria. And we will be lining up drilling in Victoria at Pyramid Hill, as well as over in WA at our Viking Gold project immediately upon the new entity listing. So that's the current intention at the moment. And as I said, all those details will be firmed up as we progress over the next couple of months.
Great, thanks, Alex. I might stick to a couple more corporate and strategic questions about the IPO process and thinking. A question from Royce Heiss. He says, can you please provide some commentary on why the IPO is believed to provide the best value for shareholders as compared with a straight sale, a trade sale, or a farm out?
Yeah, so we assessed all alternatives, Royce. I guess leading into the decision that we've announced today, we did have a number of major gold companies, global majors, and domestic companies look at the possibility of a farm in or an earn in on our Victorian project, and we basically didn't progress those as announced today. So we have looked at the various funding alternatives for the gold assets, but I think what's clear is that these projects would be, well, I think in our view, are considered some of the premier projects anywhere in the gold exploration space in Australia right now. So they really warrant a standalone listed entity and a dedicated vehicle with a dedicated management team to be able to really do these projects justice. And obviously, perhaps a little bit unfairly, they've been in the shadow of Chalice's amazing success at Julimar, and the very significant journey ahead we've got in the West Yilgarn province surrounding Julimar. So I think in the interest of providing that platform for these very prospective gold projects, we decided that a standalone new entity was the way to do it.
Fantastic. I'm just going to quickly slot in a question which I had emailed to me from a shareholder earlier today. How much drilling, how much more drilling or additional drilling do you plan to do on the gold assets before the spin out is completed? So as Chalice, how much more drilling do you plan over the next few months?
Yeah, so with the timing of the decision today, I guess fits with the field season largely over in Victoria. So typically in Victoria, our drilling season commences around October, November, once the winter and cropping season is finished. I guess the prospects that we have there in Victoria are over a mix of farmland, so not only crops but also grazing pasture. So there is the possibility that should we get more advanced on any one of these prospects, we do end up drilling all year round, and indeed looking to secure access for the longer term. So in short, Victoria, we will be drilling again immediately upon the IPO, obviously subject to all the approvals and the timeline being as stated. The drill rigs will be ready to launch into some more drilling at Carry and Ironbark to begin with. I think those are the two standout targets from our perspective that definitely warrant further work, and obviously you can see there's evidence of high grade zones that need follow up. So Carry and Ironbark will be the initial focus. We'll also have an RC program permitted and ready to be launched upon IPO at our Viking project as well. And for those who are familiar with Viking, there are some shallow, high-grade gold intercepts there in the oxide profile in saprolitic material overlying basement. We've got a best intercept there at that prospect of 6 meters at 64 grams gold, and no testing as yet in the underlying basement. So that's also a tantalizing opportunity for us that had we not made our Julimar discovery, we would have obviously been very, very interested to drill that ourselves, but we feel that obviously putting putting these gold projects together in a standalone entity is the optimal structure.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Alex. I'm going to jump to a couple of questions from Keith Good over in Sydney. So a two-part question rather than a three-part question as we normally have from Keith. So Keith says, firstly, I'm intrigued by the diorite. Is it a cross-cutting diorite dike or is it a dike bulge like those seen in the Woods Point area, or is it too early to tell? And his second part to his question was, do you have any east-west striking structures as seen at Malden?
Thanks, Keith. You've gone light on me today with just the two questions. Yeah, look, very, very good observation there. Look, the diorites host units at Walhalla Woods Point, as you know, are quite narrow, but elongate along strike, so they are more dike orientation. At Ironbark South and Ironbark North, what we see is a more circular sort of Pluton type of geometry between about 500 and 800 meters in diameter. So they do appear to be definitely younger than the surrounding Castlemaine group sediments. So have intruded through that package. We're not exactly sure, obviously, on the origin and the sort of the genesis of those two diorites. But certainly the air core and diamond drilling we've done on them points to, I guess, the potential certainly to host some high grade gold in quartz reefs, not only within the diorites themselves but also on the margins. So that's another common characteristic with the Walhalla Woods Point field, is that a lot of the actual high grade gold sat on the margins of the diorite, between diorite and surrounding sediments. And then lastly, on that Ironbark East, I think the geometry there obviously is a little bit unknown at this point. There's just a couple of holes that have intersected that diorite and fairly weathered. Like as you can see on the cross section on the release, there's some weathered diorite there, which has been quite deep. So it's unclear from the magnetics exactly what the geometry is of that Ironbark East diorite as yet. It could be a more elongate dikes sort of geometry, but obviously we need some more drilling around it to determine that. And we're also investigating some tighter spaced and more detailed magnetics over that target to refine that. But yeah, the margins of these diorite, as well as where potential structure has deformed those diorites, is I guess one of the prospective setting there for gold mineralization. So yeah, east-west trending structures as well is certainly a possibility, but nothing clear cut as yet from what we've seen on the geophysics or on the drilling.
Okay, great. And I've got another geological question here from Peter. Are you interpreting the diorite gold mineralization at Pyramid Hill as a form of an intrusion-related gold system, or is it some separate new form of gold mineralization? It's
unclear as yet whether it is actually intrusion hosted or it's a later stage structurally hosted style. So I guess in the challenge for us at the moment in shallow air core drilling, just tagging and really drilling through the weathered part of the diorite gives us some limited information. We have done about 3 diamond holes into the Ironbark South and Ironbark North diorites, and as yet they haven't been conclusive on whether it is structurally controlled or actually intrusion controlled. So yeah, further work to do there, but certainly it is an enticing prospect. Given the scale of the diorites themselves, obviously the prospect there of significant gold systems in either one of them, or hopefully all of them, is still well and truly a possibility.
Fantastic. Next question is from Rob Redhead. He says, "Hi Alex, do you expect the new entity to have largely the same board and management as Chalice?"
So we haven't finalised board and management decisions as yet. So that process will be finalised over the next couple of months. But we are, I guess, given the amount of activity going on across the Chalice portfolio at the moment, it is likely that we will get some new management additions to the new entity. But as I said, yeah, to be confirmed before obviously lodging prospectus and lodging further details with the ASX.
I've got a sort of a related follow-up question from Peter. Where will the new standalone gold entity be based? Will it be in WA or Victoria? And will it have any of the senior Chalice people in management positions? I guess you've touched on the latter bit, but can you provide some colour on where the headquarters is likely to be?
Yeah, look, headquarters to begin with, we're envisaging within the Chalice office. So in the Chalice HQ here in West Perth. We will be looking to, I guess, increase our, management contingent over in Victoria, given that the focus of the entity will be on Pyramid Hill. But also we have a number of West Australian assets in the portfolio as well. So at the moment we're remaining, pretty flexible on location of the new entity. But to begin with, anyway, we're anticipating it'll be in West Perth, and I guess being supported closely by the Chalice technical team.
Fantastic. Next question is from David Coates from Bell Potter over in Brisbane. Who do you view as the closest peers for the new Gold Co?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. It's a good question. Obviously, our land holding is easily the largest in the province in the Bendigo zone. So we are a dominant player from that perspective. I guess probably the closest analogue is our immediate neighbour to the east, Catalyst, who are in a joint venture, 50-50 joint venture with Hancock Prospecting. And those who have followed Catalyst over the last sort of 5 or so years have no doubt be aware of a number of gold discoveries they've made immediately east of our Muckleford area at Four Eagles and Tandara. So that's probably the I guess our immediate neighbour and the nearest analogue. But yeah, it certainly we won't have a peer. With I guess probably the breadth of the exploration portfolio, certainly the addition of Viking in WA, I think puts it in very in a standout position as a very exciting new standalone gold explorer.
Fantastic. Another follow-up geological type question from Peter. He asks, can you please be more specific about where you're actually seeing the gold mineralisation in transported cover at Banksia? Is the mineralisation in identifiably glacial sediments, or is it hard to tell?
Yeah, so no glacial cover there. The gold's being intersected there at the transition, but from Murray Basin cover into highly weathered Castlemaine group sediments. So we're in I guess a saprolitic zone there of the interface between Murray Basin and highly weathered Castlemaine group. So we have confirmed the majority of those intercepts are in that transported cover. We're seeing quite well-rounded, albeit fine, but fairly rounded grains of gold mineralization there, and that sort of adds further evidence for us that it is transported gold. Obviously, the gold can be transported over large distances, so we don't know which I guess direction the potential source is, whether it's southwest or north or east, indeed. So there's more air core drilling to be done there to really refine that and hopefully start to get vectored towards the potential source in basement.
Fantastic. Couple more, Alex, and then we might try and wrap up. Question from Nicholas Mead. What are your initial thoughts on valuation and how to calculate that number?
Yeah, so we will be using a number of different, I guess, peers as well as the general sort of market for ASX listed gold companies to determine an appropriate valuation. I can't disclose that at this stage until we obviously go through our regulatory and shareholder approval process. But suffice to say, I think the brand association with Chalice, I think will be strong, and I'm anticipating the market reception of this new entity will be also very strong. So I guess more details to be released there over the coming months.
Fantastic. And Keith hasn't let us down. He's come in with a third and final part to his question. He says, is Tim Goyder going to be chairman of the new entity, given he has such a great track record?
Tim has a fantastic track record, as you know, Keith. He will be the major shareholder, obviously currently sitting around 11% of Chalice. He will be he will be the substantial shareholder of the new entity, assuming an in-specie distribution. So at this stage, we haven't finalised any board and management appointments, but as I said, watch this space for details in that area.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alex. I think we've covered all of the questions. I might just hand back to you for a couple of closing comments, and also just to remind everyone that I think Chalice has got a couple of presentations coming up over the coming month. I believe you presenting presumably virtually at the Noosa Mining Conference later this week, and of course Diggers and Dealers in Kalgoorlie in early August. So plenty of great opportunities to catch the Chalice story. But I might just pass back to you for some closing comments.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Yeah, indeed, a couple of conferences coming up in the next month. I think obviously we don't want to take away from the very exciting work we're doing at Julimar. Obviously, most would be aware that there's 7 drill rigs completing a resource definition drill program at the Gonville discovery, and we're still anticipating initial works in the initial drilling in the Julimar State Forest in this quarter. So there's lots of excitement across the Chalice portfolio as we aim to do, and I guess this potential demerger and I guess potential IPO in Q4 certainly adds another level of excitement to our exploration activities. So I'd maybe just like to thank everyone for joining, and thanks Nick for hosting, and certainly look forward to bringing further updates as we progress.
Thanks very much, Alex, and thank you everyone today for joining us. Thanks for your fantastic questions and interaction. Look out for Alex at those presentations that I mentioned coming up over the next month, and if you do have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us here at Reed Corporate, or of course the team at Chalice in Perth. So thank you very much for your attention today, and we'll be in touch with our next webinar in the very near future. Thank you.